What's up, everybody? This is Ricardo Rodriguez.
And Matthew Messick.
And this is
the Profits Over Wages podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Profits Over Wages podcast, where we do weekly interviews with highly successful business owners and entrepreneurs. We discuss life, business, and entrepreneurship to bring forward the lessons learned from success and failure, and most importantly, have fun while doing it. On episode 36 of the podcast, we sit down with Heather Ann Havenwood. She is a serial entrepreneur and teaches coaches, experts, and service providers current online marketing and sales strategies to close the right clients anytime they want. She is regarded as a top authority on digital marketing, sales coaching, and online publishing business strategies. Heather has been named top 50 most followed women entrepreneurs by the Huffington Post. She's also the author of Amazon bestseller, Sexy Boss, How Female Entrepreneurship is Changing the Rulebook and Beating the Big Boys, and host of a very own nationally syndicated podcast, The Win with Heather Havenwood. On this episode, we talk about the power of podcasting and why as a small business owner you shouldn't avoid it, why in entrepreneurship is best to not be attached to your creation, how to work your list and double your business, and Heather talks about empowering women to pursue business and entrepreneurship. Enjoy the show. Just wanted to thank you for being on the podcast. Really appreciate you being on here and giving us your time. For those people who are not familiar with who you are, if you could kind of just give us like a brief, who you are and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Heather Havenwood, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur since 2001, but I definitely didn't choose this path. It chose me. And I've had a lot of ups and downs, mainly I've been in the internet marketing. My first online business plan was 1999. My first million online was 05. My first bankruptcy from online was 06, 07. My next $1 million business that went pretty fast was in 2015. And so I'm an entrepreneur. I have multiple books out as well. My big book that's kind of known for is called Sexy Boss. And it's really about the empowerment of women. It's changing the rule book. But I wrote it out of because I had a bankruptcy. I lost everything, my house, everything. I was living in a car, and I was starting to write this personal journey story. And that's actually what ended up being the book Sexy Boss. It was really about my personal story of how I overcame so much. And I didn't really think it would be a big success. It was kind of one of those, I'm going to write this to get out of my head and help me. And if one person likes it, that's cool. But I've actually built an entire business out of it since 2013.
Gotcha.
Nice.
And what is it that you focus mostly on right now?
So I'm a consultant. I mainly work with small business owners with their brand, their message, and their marketing. There's three things: market, message, and market, message, and media. Sorry, I'm blank. Market, message, and media. Those are the three things. And then the one thing that I'm really focused on for 2018 and beyond is the media piece, which is the podcasting. I really feel podcasting is one of the most highly trafficked place that small business owners avoid. They look at Facebook ads and Google ads and email marketing, but they don't look at something that I think is one of it's what I call, it's kind of an old school thing, this thing called ears. We're driving, we're on a treadmill, we're on a train, and people still listen to things and they digest content by listening. Yes, YouTube is awesome. That's cool. And when you're driving around with three-year-olds or whatever, or you're at a soccer game with your kids, you're not going to be sitting doing this. But you could be listening to a podcast, or on a treadmill.
Yeah.
So I think that it's a number one underutilized media that small business owners don't use today. And I now launch people's podcasts and shows. Also,
the cool thing about podcasting is 90% of the content, you're not producing it yourself. Like if you're doing an interview, the person who you're interviewing is literally providing all of the content. Yeah, because you're the host, then you're seen as the authority, right? So
yeah, absolutely. It's also it's the newer networking, right? So back in the day, there's this things called Rotary. This is years ago, Rotary or the Chamber of Commerce, which are still valid today, where you go and you handshake and you meet and kiss people to, let's say you're big in the local business. But nowadays, I think that if I was doing a consulting for a small business owner or what I call a wannabe politician locally, I would say create a podcast, create a voice, create your message, right? Be the media, go interview other business owners in the area, supporting them, and you'll have this huge network. I mean, that is the power of podcasting. I mean, I don't know how I do, you guys.
I mean,
right?
that's
How would I meet
literally
you guys? I probably met you on the seminar. I'm like, well, you probably passed me in some seminar room, right? But would I really meet you? But now I've met you. And so when I see you at an event, like I'll say, hey, right? And we've already connected. So that's the power, I think, of it.
No, definitely. I mean, it's something that we've utilized ourselves to kind of position ourselves in our business as an authority, within like the Chicago industry, because we're in real estate. So most of the people that we interview are in the real estate industry.
Oh, okay. That's where I got my start. Right.
Yeah. So, but to kind of let's dive deep a little bit more into like your journey, right? Let's talk about the first company that you started. You said the one that was it 2006 that you grew it from 0 to $1 million and like, or 5 or 6.
Let me give you some context to it, because I think that's important. And when you say real estate, are you in investing side or are you in the realtor side, or both?
Investing.
But we're both brokers. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like usually brokers are just retail or they go hardcore investing. So you guys are investors.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So that's kind of how I got my start, and it was on accident. So let me give you context. I think it's really important. Okay, and I'm going to go fast, but it's important. So my first job was in a large company called SBC Wireless, which was obviously a big, big company. This was before AT&T and Time Warner and all that. And I was in outside sales. I was 25. I was a female, obviously, and my average associate was white male 40. I didn't fit the mold at all. In fact, most of the guys had bets in the office that I wouldn't last. So I did last. I lasted for 4 years, and in that outside sales environment, which is pretty much very hardcore, that was a long time. They consider that a long time. And I was there for 4 years. And my last year I was there, I actually ended up being number 1 in the country. I actually beat not people in my office, not people in Texas. I beat everyone, New York, LA, Chicago. And I'm like, 27, 28 at the time. I didn't fit the mold. And that was the first time I really got that I didn't fit into the corporate world. So I thought, I'm waiting for my pink Cadillac, or something, like rolling up with my 2.0 or something I'm going to get for this. And I didn't get that. I got walking papers. They fired me. And it really threw me, right? Because I'm like, why are you firing me? I just made you all this money and da-da-da-da. It's because I didn't fit that mold. I didn't fit that mold. And lots of times people say, the moment you become really successful, people say, we really want you to succeed. But then when you get too successful for their feelings or their experience, or maybe they don't like that, they'll either kick you out or pull you down. It's human nature.
Right.
So they kicked me out, and then I didn't know what to do. And actually what happened, this is a true story. I spent like 6 months in this kind of, what do I do? And all I knew, this is a critical point, all I knew was I didn't want that. You ever had those kind of moments?
Yeah.
I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do, but it was like, not that. Like a girlfriend, like, I'm not sure what kind of girl I want, just like not that one, right? Kind of like, that's all I had.
Yeah.
And here's what happened. I'm sitting on a girlfriend's couch, just got married, and there is an infomercial. And it's like, do you want to control your life? Do you want to make more money? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. So I'm writing down, come to the seminar tomorrow at 1:00 at the hotel in Dallas. I show up, totally lied to my friends. I don't go. Show up, sit in the seat. There's a guy in the front of the room doing a whole presentation, selling you into a 3-day seminar on about like how to buy and sell real estate. You get where I'm going.
Yeah.
And I'm going, this is cool, but I didn't have $3,000. And then he says, for a spouse, it's $1,000. I'm like, sweet. So I like nudge the guy next to me, and I'm like, dude, can I be your spouse? He's like, cool. What's your name?
Sure.
So we go back in the room. I'm lying. I mean, it's obvious. I have no ring. Last name is different. Address is different. Credit cards. I mean, like, it's obvious, right? So I put my grand down. The people in the back of the room, they quickly took my money. They're like, fine, we'll take your money.
Yeah,
we know you're lying, and we'll take your money. So they kind of were watching me. What's your deal? We know you're lying, but it's kind of like cool. You know what I mean? And that's what happened. So they actually kind of tapped me on the shoulder, had these great conversations. I ended up moving to Orlando, Florida. And I actually ended up working with that team, traveling the country, doing seminars on how to buy and sell real estate. That's what threw me into this world. That's what threw me into all this. I was a freelancer. I didn't know what that was. Like, here's your 1099. I'm like, where's my W-2? Like all that kind of started. And then I ended up being consulting for speakers and authors across the country doing real estate investing. I started producing events. I produced over 450 real estate events. I started working for Ron LeGrand, Robert Allen. I mean, this is kind of where I got my teeth into persuasion, copywriting, and entrepreneurship as I learned from, I think, some of the masters. So I did that all the way through 2001 through 2005 when one of the speakers approached me and said, hey, like, I'm really good at this real estate thing, but I really suck at the whole marketing, my brand and name thing.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. So we teamed up and I built a business from $0 to $1 million in 1 year with his seminars, books, that whole thing. And that was awesome. And that business is still viable today, except he didn't think they would happen, and it did, and he took the business away from me. So, and I ended up in foreclosure and bankruptcy. He wiped me out. He cleaned the bank accounts out, and he still has that business to this day. And yeah, sometimes you got bad partners.
Yeah,
kicked you out again.
Huh?
You got kicked out again.
Yeah, I'm constantly getting kicked out. It's one of those things. I have a pattern with that. And that's because I come into something and I push and I blow things up. You know, it's kind of what entrepreneurs do.
Yeah.
And if I don't fit like a particular mold for the other person or expectation, they kick me out. And it's interesting because people always say, well, and I'm just going to be honest with you, one of my biggest weaknesses, and this, I know this sounds weird, this movement we're in, is that I'm female and I'm woman and I'm blonde and I'm kind of cute. And that's my biggest weakness because I don't fit their mold in their head.
Right.
And so they go, oh, yeah, let's do something. And then I blow things up and I make things happen and I drive sales because I'm good at it, done over and over and over again. And then if they think at any point that I don't fit that mold, they're like, oh, that's great. Thanks. See ya. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting thing. I've been told I need to be pregnant in the kitchen. I've been told I just need to get married and stop. I've been told, you know, you'd be a great wifey. Like, that's the road of my entrepreneurship.
Like, actually been told that?
Oh, I've been told that all the time. Yeah, I've been told that. I've been told if I'm at a mastermind, go get me coffee. You know, so it's, believe it or not, even though there's a huge movement for female entrepreneurship, there's a mold.
Do you think they feel threatened by it, or why is it?
If I had to really look at it, potentially. But here's the other thing. What entrepreneurship looks like today is Mark Zuckerberg. Right? That's the mold some people have in their head, or a Warren Buffett, or a Mark Cuban.
Just an all white dude.
Yeah, like, you know, look at Zuckerberg. I mean, he wears a hoodie. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, so I think there's a particular view, even though they say there's an openness to it. My point is, we all have a weakness, and I think it's my biggest weakness I've had to overcome. I think it's my biggest strength, but some people see it as a weakness because they put you in a box.
Do you see it as a chip on your shoulder kind of thing?
Oh, like, God, no. Absolutely. Does it come across that way? No,
I'm just saying.
Absolutely not. I think all of us have something. People told me, well, I've had clients say, well, people don't think that anything's going to happen. I'm going to do anything because I'm African-American or I'm this, I'm that. People judge people not based on their work. They judge people on what they look like and they put them in a box. And I think that's one of the challenges entrepreneurs have is like, who am I to actually do what I want to do? Who am I to actually overcome this, right? And it's all in your head. It's all in the mindset of it. But people are going to come at you.
So me, as long as you do your job or you do well, I don't care what you look like. You know, it doesn't matter. Like, if the results speak for themselves, why the hell does it matter what you are or what you look like? It shouldn't matter whatsoever. Maybe we're saying that because, you know, I'm from Chicago and this is a very diverse city, but like, I don't know, that I feel like that shouldn't matter whatsoever.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all good. I think that's been part of my journey. It's been part of my journey. And it's kind of like the David and Goliath story. And, you know, as you grow and as you expand and as you become more successful, whatever the mold is that you got to deal with, well, you know, whatever what I call the Goliath, the thing you have to deal with, things will come up. Whenever I have clients who are female who work with me and say, you know, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I don't want people to say negative things about me, or I don't want anyone to sue me, or all this kind of stuff. I always tell them, look, that is kind of like being on the Dallas Cowboys and looking at Jerry Jones, the owner, by the way, the Cowboys rock, and look at the Dallas Cowboys, the owner, Jerry Jones, and saying, I don't want to get hit today, but can I still, be on your football team? And Jerry Jones is going to go, give me your damn money back, give me your uniform back, and get the hell off my field. Entrepreneurship, you're going to get hit with whatever. I mean, you're going to get sued. You may or may not get sued. You might have to sue somebody else. It's part of the game.
It comes with the territory. But that's one of the things I think that people get nervous about, or as you call it, failure. Something happens and they get what I call hit, and then they go down. But just like an NFL player, what's the first thing they get taught? They get taught how to get hit. If you're a football player, right? Yes, are they taught how to throw? Sure. But what's really the thing that they practice? How to hit and how to get hit safely. And that actually, I think, is one of the missing steps in entrepreneurship, is how to learn how to play the game, go after what you want in life, be extremely successful. And when you get hit, don't just fall down, get back up.
Okay. You got to be able to take the hits and keep going and come back over and over and over again. It's just part of the game.
Let's move on to, because you said you also did the same thing in 2015, right? Like, how did that journey up to that happen after you got kicked out of the other company?
That business is still viable today. I was with my business partner and fiance at the time. We took a weight loss company from zero to, it was nothing. We created it, the name, the brand, everything went from 0 to 1.5 million in sales. He has that business today. We broke up / like what I call divorce. So he has that business today. So yeah, it's just, part of entrepreneurship. Here's the thing that I really get about entrepreneurship. You can't be attached to your creation. You can't. You create a business, it works, doesn't work, let it go. You create a business, you create. Entrepreneurship, from a definition, is creation. So what happens a lot with entrepreneurs is they create the first business and they get really attached to it. And if it doesn't work, they get like a house, like their first real estate deal, they get attached to that deal.
Yeah.
Versus like just going to the next deal. Okay, here's what I learned. Go to the next deal, go to the next deal, go to the next deal, go to the next deal. Yeah, I remember that from my real estate days when I was buying and selling houses and foreclosures. Is like I remember my mentor saying, you never, ever get attached to a deal. Ever.
It's all about the numbers.
You never get attached to the deal. You have to be completely unattached to it. Numbers, no numbers. Might be funded, might not be funded. The deal somewhere along the way doesn't work, right? So you just need to keep going and just know that your job is to just be looking for and creating deals over and over again and never get attached to a deal. He's like, the moment you get attached to a deal, you've lost. Same thing with business. Same thing with entrepreneurship. So it's freed me up to be able to create, and build. And no matter what happens, my job is to create and build and help other people as well. That's pretty much the game.
So, when you say you're a true entrepreneur at heart, right? I'm sure you've read that book, The E-Myth, when you got the operator, the manager, and then the entrepreneur. So you're fully like 100% entrepreneur. But when it comes to growing businesses, because a lot of the time, you might not want to focus, or you're maybe not be good at the management side. Do you partner with somebody who's good at the management side to kind of pair up with your vision, or do you deal with that yourself as well?
Well, I've learned, for me, the best thing to do is stay in the visionary, stay in the systems, and then hire management. That's, for me, my particular flow. So I'm really good at systems and systematizing the brand. So I really focus on, like I said, the three things: the message, the market, and media. Mm-hmm. That's the system structure. Make sure the message is in alignment, and make sure the media that we use to market the business is in alignment with that whole thing, and then systematize it. I'm really big into the front piece of the marketing and the systematizing. Everything on the back end, the management side, is not my wheelhouse. And I know that's not my strength in the Kobe sense. right? I take that test, and I'm a starter, as they call it. And Kobe, if you ever taken that test, I highly suggest anyone listening take it. It's KOBE. It helps you see. I always look at a vision of a horse. You have a starter and a finisher, right? I'm definitely a starter, and the finisher I usually hire, but it's like you gotta have a finisher to finish things, right? I'm a system person and a visionary person, and then I hire management.
All right. So right now you say you're mostly focused on consulting, right? Like, how does that, like, what do you do do you deal mostly with online businesses or like local businesses or both?
Right now, all my clients are online companies because my master's degree in online marketing, like I said, my first $1 million online was 2005. I'm a master's in online marketing. That's my thing. So people come to me, like one of my clients right now, she'd never been able to pass $250,000 a year. I think 5 or 6 years, just never been able to like go past that, right? She's been working with me for 4 months, retweaking lots of different things, right? Real simple tweaks. It doesn't take a lot of different tweaks. It takes simple things, simple levers to move a whole door, right?
Right.
She's already on track. If she does nothing else right now, she's on track to about $950,000 this year.
What
kind of tweaks did you make that put her on track to do that?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different things. And first, my clients are confidential. I work with clients one-on-one, so I got to be careful with that. But the growth hacks that one of them that I implemented with her and other people is, how are you leveraging your list? A lot of people they get the customer, but they don't continue to sell the customer, right? That's number one. So with one of the clients is that we looked at affiliate marketing, is really expanding affiliate marketing. She was doing a little bit of it, but she wasn't doing a lot of it. And then the number one thing that I had her focus on, she went from emailing her list once a month, maybe, to now 4 times a week. Now that was a big, whoa, what if somebody unsubscribes? Then let them go. Because you've got to be willing to get in front of your customer over and over and over again. I'm gonna get her to 7 days a week.
That's very Grant Cardone 10x.
Yeah.
You have to be able to be omnipresent. You have to be able to be in person's face. I promise you. Think about it. If I turn on the TV right now, no matter what cable station or local station, imagine if I said, "Will they please stop giving me commercials? Just 30 minutes. I just want a 30-minute commercial." Right? No. Why? Because that's their job, is to sell us. So why in the world do we as business owners stop? You should never stop selling. And if they want to leave, then they remove themselves.
Right, because the people that weren't going to buy in the first place are going to remove themselves.
They're not going to buy.
And then the ones that actually like what you're doing, they don't mind you messaging them 5 times, 4 times a week.
And then you're going to stand out from the competition because they're seeing you more often than the other people who are still mailing, maybe once a month or once a week if you're doing it, 3, 4, 5 times a week. So
a little drop to Grant Cardone, because I will give him some credit here. I did a video, it's on LinkedIn and YouTube, called "Don't Be a Little Bitch." And because y'all know who Grant Cardone is, he says that a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in his video. It's our next book.
I posted it, and I got all this stuff, like all this negativity, which I get was like, okay, of like, I can't believe you're calling women a bitch. And, all this different, men aren't bitches, like this whole gender thing. And I just like, that's so interesting to me, right? Because Grant Cardone, who's a male saying it, didn't really, I don't know if he gets slack for it. I have no idea.
He probably doesn't give a shit.
He probably does. But again, a woman calling other people a bitch. See, Grant Cardone, it's a male. He's like, don't be a little bit, and it's very like, blah, blah, kind of thing. But a female, it's like, what are you doing? That's like not very nice of you.
You can't do it. You don't fit the mold. You're not allowed to say
that. Right. Exactly. Like if I was Rihanna, a little bit, right? It would people like, oh, I get that. It's an alignment, right? With me, look at me. Does that sound like it's going to come out of my mouth? So that's part of the whole thing, right? That's just part of it. It's all good. But just give Grant Cardone a little.
Actually just finished that book for the 3rd time in the last 2 years.
It's so awesome.
It's so good. The audiobook is amazing. I mean,
because he does it.
He does it. So it's like, it's
yeah,
really
no, I'm listening to the audio and he does the little like side thing. He'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna say that.
But since your like biggest thing is internet marketing, what are some of the things that are working right now? When it comes to grabbing leads from the internet and kind of maintaining that relationship.
Podcasting, like what we're doing now, I think it's really underutilized by a lot of internet marketers. Yeah. And a lot of it's because they don't understand it. They're used to, I spend $1,000 on Facebook ads. I get X amount of clicks. Therefore, I get X amount of dollars per lead. And I get that. I totally get it. And that is a very direct response marketing way. I understand that. I get it. I've been schooled in that. And I do that. However, at the same time, if you look at how human beings work, and they have worked for thousands and thousands of years, human to human interaction, people want to do business with humans, not clicks, even though they do business with clicks. And if you look at how we've been taught since let's go back to the 30s, 40s, and 50s, radio, connection, and then it was slowly TV, connection with the person or personality, and then as Hollywood started to evolve, right? We love celebrities. Why did we love celebrities in 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s? Because they had this view of life and they were different and they had this other life and we could connect with them and they like or didn't like and all those things. And people think now that the internet's here, people are going to change how they buy. They're not. Right. Humans do business with humans. So can they see a picture of me online and then I throw them to potentially one of my products? Yes. Will there be a percentage that buys? Yes. But if they have heard me, they've listened to me on this show and the other 350 shows I've been on, plus the 200 shows I've produced, and they've listened to any of those, they'll automatically have a view of like, they like me, don't like me, or don't care. Right?
They feel like they know you too.
Yeah. They have a judgment around me. And I'm okay if they don't like me. At least they've judged me. At least they've made a decision about me. Right? Howard Stern, 51% or more of his listeners hate him.
But they still listen to him.
But they still listen. They're listening to those advertisers, right? I mean, I think it's pretty more at this point. Rush Limbaugh, I think the numbers are like 60-40. 60% listen to him, hate him, right? Right? And then the rest love him and just like he thinks he's God. So again, it's okay to have haters. That's definitely.
Yeah, maybe people who don't want to do podcasting, they don't want to be disliked. So that might be one of the reasons why they don't want to do it. But it's like people are going to dislike you no matter what. Like no one's going to argue 100% with the things that you're going to say. I'm sure people don't like some of the things that I say on the podcast, but that's me, right? Like that's my opinion. So it shouldn't matter.
I don't like what Ricardo says. I still do.
Cute.
But
too.
Yeah, because I saw in your bio and stuff, you wanted to talk about things like chatbots and like, because I've actually been really curious about that.
Oh yeah, sure.
Adding it to our like the realty side of our business, because a lot of the time it's like when a lead comes in, you got to get back to them right away. When they're looking for a house or they're trying to buy a house or sell a house.
Yeah.
So it's just like having that quick response.
So chatbots are huge. I've done speaking in 2018 about it. They are still baby, if you know what I mean. They're still baby. Yeah. But they're growing. The best thing about chatbots is that what I call fast interaction, number one. Number two, you start to build a relationship with them quickly. Number three, that if you look at how Facebook views, Facebook views, they have, used to have 4. Now they have 3 products. Okay. They used to have 4, WhatsApp, but there's something going on with that. They have Instagram, they have Facebook, the news feed, and then they have Messenger. They look at Messenger literally as a different product.
Yeah, it's a different app on the phone. Yeah.
It's a different app on the phone. And so for a long time, people like Facebook, Messenger. I'm like, no. It's like that. And Zuckerberg talks about that. He talks about how we have 3 products. It was 4, but 3 products, Instagram, Messenger, Facebook. And so each one has its own specific way to advertise. It has its own specific way to get in front of the customers. It's its own way. And so in 2016, Zuckerberg's like, okay, Messenger, how are we going to monetize this baby? Right? And that's how chatbots came to be. Now you're getting sponsored ads inside of the Messenger, right? The beauty of Messenger and Facebook, of course, is the data, right? So you can know everything about your potential customer, married, not married, right? Kids, no kids.
Because it comes from Facebook.
Where they live, right.
Voted
for Trump, not voted for Trump.
I don't think people would say that publicly, but yeah.
Let me tell you something about Facebook. Facebook knows who you really voted for. Facebook knows what your true religion is. Facebook knows if you're cheating and not on your wife. Facebook knows. They just know. They just know everything. Right? We tell Facebook like we're telling our secret little friend. Yeah. Somewhere along the way, Trump, no Trump, didn't vote for him. You have said something online that has indicated that you voted for him or not. Right? Right? Either through the messenger or through on your feed, or you liked something, boom, right? That's what happens, and people don't realize that. It is such an amazing data.
The crazy thing that I've noticed is that sometimes you don't even have to either look something up online or like something or interact with something online. But I feel like a lot of the time it's like I'm just having a conversation with somebody, and then later on I see the ad on Facebook, and I'm like, I've never searched this, but I remember talking to somebody about it. So if
they have the audio on, they listen to what you're saying.
Yeah,
they do. They listen to what you're saying. I mean, I think the funniest / comedian type thing I've seen recently was Zuckerberg in front of Congress.
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny.
When they're like, "So what are you saying, sir? That if I go to a website, y'all can follow me to another website?" And Zuckerberg's face is like, yes, sir. It's called retargeting. We're not the only. I mean, like, he was trying so hard to be like, where have you been?
It's like everybody does it. Like Amazon does it.
He's like, you're on Congress. You don't even know what a pixel is or retargeting is. What is, and how the Congress phrased it. I can't remember the exact line of who it was, but the congressman was like, son, you're telling me that if I go to, and I could just tell the congressman's thinking, oh, that porn site I went to. Damn it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, so you're saying that
was I incognito or not? Did I go on private?
Oh God. So that time I went to the Stormy Daniels website. Did that get, I mean,
I think she was actually just in Chicago. Or is about to
was
be.
She really?
I have no idea. I saw a billboard for it sometimes. I don't follow news too much, so like I don't really know what's going on a lot of the time.
But, it's okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about your book, because I'm interested, but right, because yes, most of the podcast guests that we've had been male. I think we've had maybe 3 or 4 female business owners or entrepreneurs.
We're looking for more female, but
we just can't find them. You know what I mean? Like it's been very tough to get them to talk and having to be on an interview. So, I want to talk a little bit about your book and what it is that you're focusing on, empowering women to pursue business and entrepreneurship.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you and wanting more women. I think that's great. I mean, thank you so much for that, because it's we have a little more hard time getting in front of the spotlight. So that's part of it. So a couple of things. The 2 books. One's Power Guesting. That's my latest one. That's really just about how to be a guest on podcasts. So I've been on over 350 at this point. It was about the first 18, 24 months. And the reason I share that is I love doing it. I love connecting. I love networking. I love sharing my story as long as it empowers other people. My goal is always, will it help somebody, right? So my first book is Power Guesting. So if you're listening going, I want to do what she does and what these guys do, go pick that up. I literally lay it out. Sexy Boss came, like I said, from me sharing my personal story, because I needed an outlet. I'm sitting there. I remember this date. This is like 2006. I got caught in the real estate downturn in Florida. So just to give you an idea, my business partner, I came home one day from a seminar, an internet marketing seminar, and he had stolen everything. Bank accounts empty, everything's closed, just gone. I was gone for 3 days, so he did that. Came back, I had no money in the bank account. So within 3 days, my house was, starting to what I call get triggered. And it took about 2 or 3 months and started getting triggered to the foreclosure. Well, immediately, of course, I was like, well, put it on the market. I bought it 70% loan to value. I should be fine. That was right when things were starting to flip. So 6 months earlier, I would have probably been able to make 60, 70,000 from my house. That month, I was negative 20, 30,000.
Yeah.
I owed more than it was worth within 6 months. It was like, if you did not live through that movie, The Short, you ever see the movie The Short?
Couple
I
times.
lived that life. That was my life. I lived in Central Florida. I lived that. So I had basically, my house went through foreclosure process. I had to short sell my own house. I had to walk away. So I'm sitting there in my house, realizing this is happening, filing personal bankruptcy and business bankruptcy. House is in foreclosure process, and I'm sitting there in the house, and my friend calls me from California. He's a big time marketer, and he said, "One day, Heather, you're going to share your story." And I'm pretty sure I said something like F you, F hell no, something like that, right? Very like, right? Because I was so. Here's the humbleness of it. In my view, I'm freaking smart.
Right.
That doesn't happen to me. Right? Bankruptcy, that would never happen to me. Like, how would that happen to me? I make money. Right? Well, a couple things. One, bad business partner and this market downturn that I had no control over. Right? So I'd never been through that in my life. Here I am, 31 years old at the time, going through this process. I didn't have a backup plan. I didn't have a daddy Warbucks. I didn't have a husband that had some other job. I had nothing. Uber wasn't around then, because if Uber was around, I would have been Ubering the next day to get money in the pocket. I would have just like, boom, let's do Uber. But at the same time, the point is that I started to write the book in 2011, 12. And from the concept to the entire process, I did everything in 90 days, including my own audiobook. And my friend Joe Sugarman, who's a dear friend of mine and a master copywriter, he's the one who came up with the name Sexy Boss. And he goes, I want you to really share your personal story and share what you went through, Heather, not for yourself, but to empower other people. Yeah. And I said to him, I go, look, if one person buys this book, it's a success. Like, that was my entire goal. Yeah. Some people have a book of they want to make it, number one bestseller. I didn't have any of that. It was like, create it for myself, created to get the story out, created to kind of tell one on myself, because I was truly embarrassed. I mean, I'm an educated woman and I'm going through bankruptcy, like that, it was a lot of stuff in my head about that personally. So it was kind of my coming out party and sharing personal story, sharing what happened. And now, I'm kind of known for it. I'm known for that book. And I've had a lot of men read it, because it's really about overcoming adversity and overcoming just how I overcame everything.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thanks.
What's some of the feedback that you've gotten from the book? Like, from people reading it and, just what are some of the things that people have told you?
So that was cool. Ryan Dice actually read it and put an Amazon. He was on Amazon and he did a review on it. It was like nice. It was very sweet. I had no idea. I've known him a long time, but he's here at Austin. One of the things that I share in there is what I call my, how do you call it? I call it my final thoughts from Sexy Boss. And every chapter I have a final thought of Sexy Boss. And I kind of share statements or philosophies that I had to use to overcome something. Mm-hmm. So one of those is, does this feed my confusion or strengthen my clarity? And some of the feedback I've gotten from that specific one is a lot. I've had women email me, or friends of mine that I sent the book to read it and go, that really helped me get out of a relationship that I was trying to make work. Or one was, I was trying to make a business situation work, or this particular thing, and nothing was working. It was causing more confusion, and it gave me the opportunity to get out. So it's more of a philosophy and a mindset that I had to use to get out of the situation I was in.
Awesome. Let's shift gears a little bit here and talk about your podcast, because you're 91 episodes deep, right, on the win.
Am I 91?
Yeah, I think you're at 90 or something like that.
Thank you for even telling me. I just go, right? Plus, I'm nationally syndicated radio. I'm ahead on the radio.
Oh, gotcha.
On Roku and iHeart, Spotify. Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you decide to start the podcast, and why is it called The Win?
Well, I started one called Sexy Boss, and that tanked.
Really?
Failure.
I thought that would be a good one.
It's like, booyah. Well, it tanked because I didn't know what I was doing. So I interviewed some friends. I put all of them up on one day, and I was like, ta-da! And I didn't know what I was doing. Hello, failure. So I keep it out there as like, I failed. You know what I mean? It's okay. I failed. Look at my failure. It's all good. So in 2014, I had a friend of mine reach out to me and say, hey, I want to interview you on what you're kind of doing. And I said, great. So I get on it. We'd have this great fun chat. And a few weeks later, I get a call from a client in the Midwest and goes, hey, I want to hire you. It ended up being like a $5,000 coaching client. So in my head, I was like, oh, I didn't have to do anything except sit there and chit chat. Client. That's cool. Right. So I focused for a year. I did 150 interviews.
Wow. In
doing that, I get to hang out with cool people like you. And I had this thing called the green room, right? The green rooms before and after the recording.
Right.
And so in the green room, I would say, like, what are you doing to promote your show? How do you do it? What software? I started to ask 150 people how they're succeeding. So after 150 interviews of not only promoting myself, but interviewing people, like, what are they doing? I launched my show called The Win. It's all about winning in life. And I went from 0 to nationally syndicated in 6 months. That's because I had basically interviewed 150 people on how to succeed in podcasting.
So what was some of the biggest takeaways that they gave you that helped you elevate, your podcast and your game?
It's simple stuff, but commitment and consistency is a huge one. Never ending commitment, consistency, constant branding, being omnipresent, over delivering, and being in people's faces constantly. But also what I'm really good at, and I always tell people, if I'm on your show, I promote you.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't do that. So I spent, 150 interviews where I promoted all of them all over the place. And when you give first, that karma comes back. And so I had people, promote my stuff as well, which is nice.
Where do you promote? Like what, like media or, what places?
All of them. Twitter, Instagram I was doing for a while where you do the video with the audio, but I didn't get a lot of, I did that for a long time. I didn't get a lot. So I stopped that. But LinkedIn, definitely. I do YouTube with the image, with the actual audio, as well as I do the video like this. So I do it twice. LinkedIn, push as well as upload, push. Twitter, same thing. For a while, we were doing what I call 10-second segments on Twitter where we were snipping it. That worked for a long time. I liked that. I called them teasers. I still wasn't getting the return investment I wanted, so I stopped that. But for a while, I just wasn't getting. I wasn't getting the traction for it.
What's getting the most return now?
Doing all of it. There is no
just
thing.
All of it.
It's Grant Cardone. Everything all the time.
Yeah. Everywhere.
Everything all the time, everywhere. There isn't like it's like all of it.
Right. Because you don't know where people are at. So
right.
Now, how, when you say nationally syndicated, like what does that mean?
I'm on, so obviously my podcast is through iTunes and Google Play and the apps, right? I think I'm on 50 apps. So I know, because as you know, people take your RSS feed and they just post it places. So that's cool. But nationally syndicated means I'm on 17 radio stations, like, old school radio stations. So I'm nationally syndicated. And then I'm on a streaming service as well. And so they send me my numbers. And right now I'm approximately between 60 and 70,000 listeners per episode per week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's just the streaming. Yeah. That's not even including the radio, because you have a hard time with it.
All right.
That way. And then, but my reach is about 3.5. And then that's on top of the regular podcast, iHeart, Spotify.
Wow. That's a lot of people.
What are some of the biggest guests that you've had that interviewed?
I'm sorry?
What are some of the biggest guests that you've interviewed?
I do not like interviewing big guests. I know that sounds weird. I want the person who's rising up. I want the person who's done some cool stuff. I want the person that's like right now. I always get pitched by PR companies like PR, like LA New York PR companies. And I love getting someone like, they just launched this new brand and you've never heard of them. Like, oh, that looks cool. So there's a woman right now, she created a drink to help women stop getting UTIs. I mean, like, I'm like, cool. So brand new company, only been around a year or two. Yeah, she's coming on. Like, that's the kind of stuff I like. I don't like interviewing the big guys. Nothing personal.
Gotcha. Matt, did you want to go onto the questions? Yeah. So the last 15 minutes of the podcast, we're going to a little set of random questions that we ask you.
Okay, cool. I only have 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, a couple questions really quick. So like, what are some of the biggest like setbacks and obstacles that you've had as like a woman in this industry or any of the industries you've been in? Yeah. And then how are you able to overcome what did that make you realize and how did you overcome those obstacles?
Well, definitely, being at events and masterminds and being asked to go get coffee or where's your husband or who do you work for or like stuff like that. I've had that a lot. I've learned when I was younger, I get angry. I learned just to smile and be like, oh, they're not here, or whatever, or just make a joke out of it. They're coming. Most of the people I've known, I've been in the industry a very long time, since 2001. So, I know a lot of people, most of them just know at this point that I'm by myself, but I just find it like intriguing at this point. I don't make them wrong for it. If I had to give a lesson, because kind of what you're looking for, like, don't make them wrong. Don't make anyone wrong for how they think and feel and their judgment and assessment on you. I think that's one of the biggest challenges today. People make it wrong that it happened versus like that happened and it's okay and it's all good and just let it go. Don't let it stop you from going after what you want.
Right.
What habits helped make you successful?
Getting out of your own head, always having a coach. I have a coach. I've had a coach pretty much since I was about 24, 25 years old. When I called my dad one day looking for advice, kind of in life. And he's like, I can't do this anymore. You need a coach. So I've had either a business coach, a personal coach, a mentor, surrounded by people who are constantly pushing me, who are constantly questioning my beliefs, constantly. And I've had that since I was about 29, 30 at this point. There's only been like a year of my life that I haven't gone out with not had a coach in my life at some level.
Why do you do what you do? What gets you through the tough times?
I don't know. Let me think about that. I'd love to say something. I feel like I'd have something cliche to say, like my husband or my child. I don't have a husband. I don't have kids. I don't have a dog. Honestly, because I've been through so much crap, it's like, I have to succeed, go beyond it's more for other people at this point than me. It's like, I just want to be able to succeed way beyond that I thought was possible. I was told when I was younger, I was told I'm never going to amount to anything. My job is to be married and have babies. That's my job. And if you even get a degree, we don't expect that. Okay. That was what I was told. And I was also in speech therapy by the time I was 7. From 7 to 14, I didn't even really talk. So I think that's what kind of drives me, is like going beyond what people thought I should be. That's the biggest drive. But I know it's supposed to be cliche, like my children. It's like, I don't know.
No, you get different answers, man, all around. Yeah. You never know what someone's going to say.
It's just supposed to be like this cliche thing or something. But I'm like, I don't know. I think my future, honestly, I love contributing. I mean, for me, I want to be a huge contributor to women's shelters. That does drive me. That is a big passion of mine. I am a contributor now, but I want to be a huge contributor in the future to women's shelters and domestic abuse for women.
So you've had multiple failures. Do you have a favorite one? Is there one that sets you up for future success?
Yeah, then my bankruptcy and losing it all, living in a car for a year, living on people's couches, going from very successful to eating dirt. A few days, don't even know where you're going to eat that night. Having having to really be humble and asking for friends for help and asking them to live on your couch, that humbled me a lot.
What's one piece of advice that you'd have for somebody just starting out in business?
Ooh, you will get hit. Think of the analogy of NFL. To be a master, to be a player, to be at the NFL level, you have to learn to get hit and to get back up and keep going after what you want.
What's one thing that you find to be true that most people would disagree with?
Wow, that's interesting. I think the one thing that I find true is, and people just don't understand it, people are judgmental and they put you in a box. They want to put you in a box because this is what people do. It's just human nature to put people in a box. It's like me walking down the street at midnight and I have a man coming towards me. I want to put him in a box of something. He might hurt me, right? It's what we do as humans. It has nothing to do with who he is. It might not even be true. Who knows, right? But our minds put in a box. And so people put me in a box. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges. People say, oh, that's not true. It's true. It's a judgment assessment of a human being. It's not personal.
Have you ever turned down a client? And if so, why?
Yes. Yes, I have. They were not ready at all. The mindset wasn't there. It didn't matter how much marketing advice I gave them. They just weren't going to take action, and their mindset wasn't there. Wasn't ready.
What's the worst piece of advice that you've ever got?
I didn't take it, but and it's from my mom in the most loving way possible, but it just shows like, it's not worst advice. It's just kind of give you an idea. I was engaged when I was young, and I looked at my mom having coffee, and I told her, I said, I'm not in love with him. I'm not in love with him. He's in love with me. I'm not in love with him. She goes, honey, marriage has nothing to do with love. As long as it will right for you. Right. So, So I was like having to go against my own mother and be like, I'm breaking off the engagement. So, and it was like, she's no longer with us, but pretty much till the day she died, she's like, you should have married Chris, kind of thing. So not because I loved him or he would have provided for you, kind of thing. And I know that's just her upbringing, right? It's all good. But yeah, that was some eye-opening advice. Huh. It's not about love. It's about how long as he provides for you.
If you got the chance to start over, what would you do differently?
I would listen to my gut way more. I would not listen to the naysayers as much, and I wouldn't let other people's view get in my way.
Where did you find your first mentor, and how did you approach them to be your mentor?
I was in the business, right? So I was in the information marketing business. I was traveling the country. So I think being thrown into that industry, I was traveling the country with all men. And I think all those guys that I travel with were my mentors. Mentorship does not have to be loving. You know what I mean? Mentor sometimes is like, do this and you're an idiot. Here's why, do it. You know what I mean? So I don't think mentorship has this view. There's this lovingness to it. They taught me everything. I mean, I had to learn to step up. I had to learn to play the game and figure it out. If not, I was going to be thrown to the wolves, which sometimes I was. And that's mentoring, So it was kind of one of those things where they were always testing me.
Awesome.
That's mentorship. Perfect.
She's only got a couple minutes left, Matt. So.
All right, last one. What living or dead person other than family members do you most admire?
Weirdly enough, Madonna, grew up with her. That. Yeah, because she's been able to just completely reinvent herself over and over. And the girl's still kicking it. Like, dude, really? She could have been a one-hit wonder after Like a Virgin and been fine. I mean, she just kept going and kept going. So that way she's able to just consistently morph herself over 30 years as a career. It's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, power.
So huge respect for her. Power to you, girl. It's one of the truly most talented businesswomen and artists I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Awesome. Before we finish up here, where could people find you?
HeatherHavenwood.com. If they want to check out my chatbot, they can go to askheatherann.com. I'll repeat that. Ask, A-S-K, Heather, A-N-N.com.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Heather. Really appreciate you giving us your time.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me. I really honor and appreciate it. You guys were really like, y'all pulling all this stuff out of my.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, how to think. I mean, that's, and I'll leave you with this. One of the things I'm seeing here, I have a huge board right here. You can't see it, but one of the things I have right here, it says, well-behaved women rarely make history. And that goes for men too. And entrepreneurship is being okay with being a rebel.
I agree.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Till next time, guys. And that's it for another episode of the podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. One last thing before you head off, though. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us your thoughts on iTunes. It would really mean a lot and help us reach more people. You can also find us on Facebook at Profits Over Wages Podcast, as well as on Instagram and YouTube. Until next time.